Good morning, friends. Today we are going to start with lesson number 14, Sources of Energy. So, you have done this chapter in the previous classes. You know what are the sources of energy? Yes? We have talked about the atmosphere, the biosphere, the lithosphere, the hydrosphere. And we will see in this chapter why energy is very important and from where do we get the energy to do different kind of work. So, before we start to understand energy, we'll first see the law of conservation of energy. So, the law of conservation of energy is energy can neither be created nor destroyed, it can only be converted from one form to another. Meaning to say, the total energy in the universe is constant. So, you can convert energy from one form to another. For example, photosynthesis. In photosynthesis, the plants prepare their own food with the help of sunlight. So here sunlight, that is the light energy, is converted into starch, that is chemical energy. So photosynthesis is light energy to chemical energy. And in the previous chapters you have done, previous standards also, that sun is the main source of energy on the earth. Means the energy of the sun is taken by the plants to prepare their food, and from that food the herbivores eat them and the omnivores, the carnivores and so on, but the energy enters the living cycle through photosynthesis. So sun is the direct or the indirect source of energy. Secondly, all the sources of energy we use today, coal and petroleum, so you have to also see how they were formed. So basically, energy can neither be created nor destroyed. It can only be converted from one form to another. The total energy during a physical or chemical process is conserved. So today we have got a mobile. We use a mobile. So what is the source of energy for the mobile? It's the mobile battery inside, which has got certain chemicals. Okay. So lithium cadmium battery inside the mobile. So we use that energy to use the mobile. Once the energy is over, then we recharge it. How do we recharge it? With the help of electricity. Then we have got the sound system where electricity is converted into sound. We have a TV where electricity is converted into light and sound. A microwave oven where electricity is converted into heat energy. Electric iron for ironing the clothes. Electricity is converted into heat energy. So energy is transformed from one form to another. So energy cannot be created or destroyed. Now we are using electricity in our day-to-day life for almost all the appliances, right? So we have to see a little bit of history on the use of energy, how energy was used previously, how we are using energy today, but all the electricity that we are using has also to be produced. So how is electricity produced? How it is converted from one form to another? So we have got solar cells. So what do solar cells do? Solar cells convert the light energy into electric energy. So you see there is one more conversion here. Solar cell is light energy to electric energy. Then we have got a hydropower station where water is filled in the dam. When the water is allowed to flow down, so in the dam, the water has got potential energy. When it flows down, the potential is turning into kinetic energy. Now the flowing water moves a turbine. When the turbine will move, then it will generate electricity. Now that we have to do in the 13th chapter, magnetic effects of electric current. So just now we'll skip that topic, but when we do that lesson, you will understand how electricity is generated. So basically what you have to remember here is energy cannot be created nor destroyed. It can only be converted from one form to another. It means the total energy of a system or in the universe we can say remains constant. So now we move to our earth. So this is a simple video where we will see what you can observe in this video, fuel is taken and the fuel is heated and there's water in this beaker. So heat energy is converting the water into steam. Steam has got high pressure, it is moving inside the tube and it is making the wheel to move. So here, what is the conversion of energy? Fuel is a chemical. So chemical energy is converted into heat energy. Yes, and here the heat energy is converted into mechanical energy. You can see the wheel moving. So this is a glass form of the steam engine. So this is the actual steam engine and made of glass, so we can clearly see fuel. You can see the fuel which is burning is the chemical energy. It converts the water into steam, giving pressure. The steam pushes the piston and the piston moves the wheel. So this is conversion of energy from where chemical to heat and heat to mechanical. So the wheel which is moving is mechanical energy. So you have observed that when the fuel was burning very fast, the heat energy was very high, water was converted into steam at a very high rate. At that time the wheel was moving fast. But as the fuel has stopped now, all the fuel has been burned. So this is the glass steam engine model presentation. So now we go to the next part, is the usable form of energy. Now what does the usable form of energy mean? There is energy in all the objects around us, but we cannot use it directly. So there is an example here. If we light a candle, the process is highly exothermic. What does exothermic mean? It gives out heat. So when a system takes inside heat, it is called endothermic. When it gives out heat, it is called exothermic. So burning a candle is exothermic. And what does the candle do? The candle has got chemical energy in the wax. So when we burn the candle, the chemical energy is converted into heat energy and light energy. So there is a conversion of energy. So chemical is turning into heat and light. Now can you take the heat and light back and make wax out of it? Can this heat and light which is generated from the reaction, can we get back the chemical energy? No, we cannot. So you cannot use heat and light. You can use the heat to make some object hot, or you can use the light for some other work, but you cannot take heat and light and turn it back into wax. So here wax is the usable form of energy giving light and heat. Light is another form of energy which can be used. Heat is energy and another usable form of energy. But we cannot convert heat and light back into wax. So what happens is energy which we have around, that is, let us say the sun, the water in the dam, the wind, all of these have got energy. Solar energy, hydro energy, tidal energy, all this energy in the usable form. So all this energy should be in which form? Usable form, is dissipated to the surrounding in less usable forms. Means once we use the energy, then the energy changes the form. It goes from usable form to unusable form. For example, we take petrol. So when we fill petrol or diesel in the fuel of a vehicle, the fuel tank of a vehicle, then the petrol which burns generates pressure which moves the piston, which moves the wheel. So petrol makes the bikes and the cars to move. So here chemical energy of petrol is converted into mechanical energy. Okay, the movement. And the engine becomes hot. But that heat of the engine is not useful to us. Means the petrol has become from a usable form to an unusable form. The petrol, which was a chemical form of energy, yes, we could use it. It was in usable form. It made our bikes and cars to move. But once it moved, That is what mechanical energy. So chemical energy is converted here into mechanical energy. From chemical energy to movement, mechanical. But that mechanical energy, once we move from one place to another, and the heat of the engine, it is not into usable form. So this is very, very important here. You try to understand that all the energy on the earth, we can use it only when it is in the usable form. Or we have got a technology which can make use of this form of energy. So there are so many forms of energy, but we cannot make use of all of them. We need to have such kind of machines which can use that form of energy. So we have wax which can be burnt as in candle, right? So wax is the usable form of energy. Petrol, diesel, coal, wood, cow dung, all these are usable forms of energy. Solar energy, light energy are also usable forms of energy. So energy when in the usable form can only be used once or twice. So now we'll see the sources of energy on the earth and why should be very careful in using energy. So first of all what we will see, what is the good source of energy. Now we have modified or made machines. What machines we have made? We have made trains, and trains run on diesel. So we have made an engine which can work on diesel. Then we have got street lamps or the appliances in a house, the microwave oven, the electric iron, the TV, the fridge, all they use electricity. Then we have got energy in our muscles to cycle to school, to do all the kind of different work. All the physical work is carried out by muscular energy. And we have got heat energy or chemical energy for cooking food. So why they use the word chemical energy? Because at home we have got a LPG cylinder which is a chemical. So LPG is burned to give out heat to cook the food. So depending on the machine, we select the source. Depending on the machine or depending on the work we want to do, we select the source of energy. And that energy should be in the usable form. So what we want to do, if we want to run a train, we'll use diesel and not petrol. Want to run cars and bikes, we use petrol. To fly a jet plane, we use white kerosene. So the engines are modified to use different kinds of fuels, different sources of energy. To cook food, we use LPG and so on. So we can see here that a particular source of energy or fuel we select for performing some work depends on many different factors. Okay, so when we have to run a plane, then we need a fuel which has got a very high output. Yes, we cannot use petrol to fly an aeroplane because the aeroplane needs more energy to overcome gravity and fly into the air. So the questions we asked are how much heat does it release on burning? So how much energy, heat energy does the fuel give? Then apart from that, does it produce a lot of smoke? Means does it produce some pollution? Thirdly, is it easily available? So a good source of energy has got the following characteristics. So we see the characteristics of an ideal fuel. What is the ideal fuel? Which can do a large amount of work per unit volume, means it has got a high calorific value. What is a high calorific value? Calorie is a unit of heat. So fuel which can give a very high amount of heat has got a high calorific value. For example, pure kerosene or white kerosene has got such value that it can run powerful engines like aeroplane. Then we have diesel also. We have a diesel car, we have a diesel train. We have JCBs which work on diesel. Yes, so diesel also gives very high calorific value, can be used to run heavy machines. So depending upon what is the work to be done, we choose our fuel, how much amount of work it can do per unit volume. But we have to see, is the fuel easily accessible? Accessible means can we get it very easily? So coal and petroleum, we have to understand how this coal and petroleum is formed. We are going to do that in this lecture only, but we have to also see, is it easily accessible? How much petrol, how much diesel is left on the earth, from where do we get petrol and diesel. Then we also have to see, is the fuel easy to store and transport? Because petrol, diesel is rigged from the earth in the oil rigs at one place, and it is to be going to all the petrol pumps. So is it easy to store and transport? And last and very important, is this economical? Means can we afford the fuel? So these are the main characteristics of an ideal fuel: large amount of work per unit volume, that is high calorific value, easily accessible, easy to store and transport, and economical. Right? So now we'll go to the part on the earth, because history of human is very old. Man started farming and everything, he used energy for a very long time. So now we'll see the history of energy. So first we'll go to conventional sources of energy. So what is the most conventional source from ancient times? Wood. Wood was burnt to prepare food. Wood was burnt to give light, to protect oneself from wild animals when man was living in the jungle. After he discovered fire, wood was the main source of energy. So with wood he made fire, fire cooked the food. So heat energy was used to cook the food, to protect himself from wild animals and so on. So wood was the most common source of heat energy. Then man learned the use of energy of flowing water and flowing wind. How? Grinding floor. So large pieces of rocks were made to move with the help of flowing water or wind by using a wooden turbine. Then wind energy was also used for drawing water out from a well. Then there were ships which did trading with the help of sails. Who pushes the sails? The wind energy. So these are the conventional sources of energy which man used for a very long time. Yes. Then as the science developed, technology developed, then machines were made, so there was a growing demand of energy. And this was met by fossil fuels. Which are the fossil fuels? Coal and petroleum. Now, do you know what is the meaning of the word fossil? Fossil means remnants of dead plants and animals which were buried in the soil a long back and are preserved. Okay, so we'll see a little about fossil fuels. How are fossil fuels made? Dead animals and plants which got buried deep inside the earth long time, due to the temperature and pressure of the earth, got converted into fossil fuels. So long time back, dinosaurs were living on the earth and many other animals. When they died, they got buried inside the earth. Due to the temperature and pressure inside the earth, this dead plants animals got converted into another form, coal and petroleum. So what did the dinosaurs eat? The herbivores ate plants and the carnivores ate other animals. From where they get the energy, the plants? From the sun. That is why I told you, even this coal and petroleum is indirectly all the energy from the sun. But these fossil fuels take millions of years to form. Yes, it takes a lot of, at least thousands of years it takes to form this kind of fossil fuels. So coal and petroleum take a very long time to form, but we are using it so fast that one day all these energy resources will be used up. Now when we got this form of energy, coal and petroleum, then we use technology to develop machines which could make this use of these energy sources. But you should know now there are only limited reserves. And these fossil fuels are non-renewable sources of energy, means once they are used up, then we cannot use them fast again. It takes thousands of years to form, some millions of years to form. So we need to conserve them. So that is one way we have to reduce. Secondly, coal and petroleum, when it is burned, gives out smoke, dust, pollution. So we have to reduce the use of coal and petroleum. But if we reduce the use of coal and petroleum, then which other source of energy can we use? These are the conventional sources used from ancient times. But now they are in a very limited form. They create a lot of pollution. So what is this answer to the conventional source? So you see what is the effect of use of a conventional fuel. Air pollution, I told you, is caused by burning coal or petroleum products. Then the oxides of carbon, carbon monoxide and carbon dioxide, oxides of nitrogen, nitrogen dioxide, nitrous oxide, and sulfur dioxide are all acidic oxides. What does acidic oxide do? The smoke goes into the air and mix with the cloud to form acid rain. And acid rain pollutes our water and soil resources. Other than the air pollution, there is a greenhouse effect. We discussed in the previous chapter what is the greenhouse effect. Glass, if you know glass, why is glass important? It allows the sun's light to come in, the heat to come in, but doesn't allow it to go out. So on hill stations, people make houses of glass in which plants are grown, because plant needs a certain amount of temperature, heat, right? So glass houses allow the heat to come in, but do not allow the heat to go out. So CO2, carbon dioxide, sulfur dioxide are such gases which allow the sunlight to come in, but doesn't allow it to go out. So this is called greenhouse. It increases the temperature of the earth. What is the result of that? The snow on the mountains, the polar caps, Arctic Circle, Antarctic Circle, the snow has started to melt, the ice has started to melt. Because of the melting ice, the level of the sea is rising. And cities on the banks of the seas, on the shore of the seas will go under the water. So greenhouse effect. Yes, global warming is a very big threat to the earth. We talk about global warming, but global warming is because of the greenhouse gases. Okay, now the pollution which is caused by burning these fossil fuels, we can reduce. How we can reduce? By efficiently burning. Now you will see smoke is produced. When you burn a candle, you see a black smoke. That black smoke is formed because the wax is not burning completely. If you go into your kitchen and see the LPG gas, it gives out a blue flame. Blue flame means the fuel is burning completely. Yellow flame means the fuel is not burning completely. So if the fuel does not burn completely, it produces a lot of smoke, pollution. So we have to make efficient things which makes the fuel burn completely. Okay? So if you will see solids like coal, wood, they do not burn fully. They leave out ash, they leave out smoke. So solids do not burn very easily. Then we have got liquid. They burn well, but even they give out smoke. And gaseous, they burn completely. So gas is a very good form of energy. So now we are using CNG, compressed natural gas, in the place of petrol. So what are these CNG vehicles? CNG vehicles, like our LPG gas in the kitchen, they are using gaseous fuel. So why gaseous fuel? Gaseous fuels burn completely, and because they burn completely, they do less pollution. So now our technology is changing. We are making vehicles which can run on CNG. We are also making solar vehicles, electric vehicles which run on electricity to reduce the effect of pollution. Right? So I guess you must have followed. So besides use directly to various purposes, gas stoves and vehicles, okay, then we got a thermal power plant. We'll do the thermal power plant later, but thermal power plant uses coal to produce heat to generate electricity. Okay, now we saw different forms of energy here, but which is the main source of energy that we use? Electricity. Now why is electricity so important? You can see there is a major source of energy here, coal. You can see in India how sources are used. Coal is used in the major. Then we've got petroleum and natural gas. Then hydro also now we started using. Nuclear is less, and wind. Okay, so using coal more, which gives a lot of pollution, even petroleum and natural gas. Now the question I asked you, electricity. We can generate electricity from the solar energy. We can generate electricity from flowing water, that is called hydro energy. Then you can see in Marnath there are big windmills. Yes, in Marnath, on the mountain, on the hill on Marnath, there are windmills. They are generating electricity. So electricity can be made from solar energy, from hydro energy, from wind energy, from tidal energy. But the question here, you can see that what I showed, We have got a pressure cooker. Yes, it is a small setup here. A pressure cooker is heated. The water inside the pressure cooker converts into steam. The steam pushes a turbine. The turbine moves the dynamo and it produces electricity. Now this dynamo we will learn when we will do chapter number 30. But in different ways we produce electricity. So turbine is used for generating electricity. What is a turbine? It has got a rotor blade assembly. So you will see on the Marnath hills there are big windmills, right? The fans. When they rotate a turbine, right? Even moving water will move the blade, and this will rotate the turbine, and the turbine will convert the mechanical energy into electrical energy. That is the dynamo. But like I said, the dynamo will do in chapter number 30. Now the question, why is electricity the most versatile form of energy? Now you will see wind energy. You can use wind energy for the sailing of ships and all, but you can use it at one place only. Hydro energy, you can use it where there is waterfall, where there is flowing water. But we are living very far from the coal mine, we are living very far from the dams, we are living very far from the hills, from the seashore. So electricity is a versatile form of energy because it can be easily converted from one form to another. Now electricity is generated. So electricity can be generated in many ways, but the best part is electricity can be transported easily. You can see there are poles outside in the, yes, there are electric poles and the electric wires. So electricity can be transported from one place to another more efficiently than any other source of energy. Petrol has to be brought in tanks or ships from one place to another, but electricity can be sent through wires, right? So electricity transport is very easy, so it is a versatile form of energy. And electricity, once it reaches your house, you can use it for your charging your mobile, to put on the TV, to put on the sound system, to put on the refrigerator, to put on the AC, the fan, the light, the bulb, the microwave oven, the electric heater, the motor pumps, everything. So electricity is become versatile, means it can convert a lot of things, be converted into a lot of forms, sorry. Electric motor pump converts electric into mechanical energy which fills water in the tank of your house. In the TV into light and sound, in the sound system to sound, in the electric iron microwave to heat, in the bulbs and tube lights into light. So electricity can be converted into many different forms. So electricity is the most versatile form of energy. Okay, so this is the first part of the chapter. Now we will slowly move into the sources of energy. Because of the limited sources, how we are developing technology to make efficient use of energy, and what care you should take while using sources of energy. Because pollution is also a very important aspect. The smoke which is created, right? So there is a very limited source of energy, means conventional source you have seen. So this tidal hydro, then this wind, solar, they are all unconventional, means there is newly developed technique that was not by convention, it is new. They are renewable. We get sunlight every day, wind flows every day, then the water flows every day, so they are renewable. While coal and petroleum are non-renewable. It takes thousands of years, millions of years to form. So the sources of energy that we will use, we are going to learn in the chapter which sources are better and why they are better. But that will be in the next lecture. So I'm going to end here. Thank you.